Hi Pisces, welcome to my channel. My name is Emmie from Emmie Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So I'm going to be doing a reading for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, also for your cross watchers, also for people who just kind of find themselves on this reading without any Pisces anything, and you're super resonating. So if you would like to see a reading for your particular sign, for a particular sign, follow me on TikTok, Emmie Evolving. I do readings for all the other signs there as well. All right, so Pisces, this is kind of where it's at. You know, I don't know what this is, but it's where it's at. This is where whatever the circumstance is has gone, and you kind of either have to choose to create something different, or kind of just suck it up and keep doing whatever it is that you're doing, and kind of just, you know, deal with it. The choice is up to you, though. You know, the choice is up to you. You can't, what I'm being told is that you can't keep doing the same thing and basically waiting for someone else to make change, to initiate the change, while you kind of just, you know, are there. You kind of just are sitting and waiting. Oh, okay. So Michael says we can't continue to be stubborn. No, bad child, but I'm feeling kind of attacked right now. So apparently we're being stubborn. Well, okay, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. And maybe I am being a little too defensive. Maybe, you know, maybe I don't know. I feel like we are able to hold ourselves accountable for those who are balanced Pisceans, but we're being asked to step out of our comfort zone again, try again to initiate some sort of healing with someone who is not, I don't know. I mean, have you reached out before? Were you the last one to reach out? I'm kind of the mindset where if I've reached out once and you weren't receptive to healing, you weren't receptive to having a conversation that could potentially lead to our healing, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm going to reach out again. I just don't feel that. I feel like once it gets to a certain point, I just kind of, you know, shrug my shoulders and kind of, it is what it is. And, you know, I don't know if, hold on. I don't know if it's something that needs to be known by me. I'm wondering if maybe this is something that kind of just needs to be let go of and walked forward from. But, you know, I don't have the answers for everyone. I'm kind of just thinking out loud, just like super thinking out loud and trying to figure out how each of us can kind of walk forward from this. So, hold on. Just put this away. For some of us, you're going to be having some sort of aha moment where you recognize whoever this is, whatever this is, it's kind of worth the process that you're kind of being nudged into. It's worth the process, the type of growth you'll experience. Hey, the type of growth you'll experience is something that, yes, at first you'll be very uncomfortable, but then if you keep pushing through, that growth is so worth it. So worth it. Ooh. Oh, okay. I'll take all of those that fell. So, 2 more decks, and then I can start reading for us. 1, 2, 3. All right. final deck. Oh my God. Okay, clearly that one wanted to come out. And these two. Okay, so where did I don't know where I put the rubber band. That's fine. We'll just put it right there. All right, so let's get started. So here goes. Card number 33, Love the Darkness. I'm wondering if this is a part of you that that you've kept very much hidden from yourself, where you're hiding your real thoughts, you're hiding the true gravity of what this is to you. Just a lot of like, but that's kind of an extreme. I'm feeling like it's just a lot of dishonesty with yourself about whatever it is. So for some Pisceans, this has to do with something romantic. For other Pisceans, this has to do with connections that are not romantic, connections that maybe, I don't know, maybe it has to do with family. Maybe it has to do with work. Maybe it has to do with, maybe it has to do with a friend that you've kind of like had a misunderstanding with, a disagreement with, or something like that. It's not always just romantic. Okay. But things are the way they are at this point because maybe you're not wanting to speak up. And I don't mean speak up as in we're constantly just being wronged. People are so mean to us. I'm talking about speaking up and really allowing yourself to communicate your needs, communicate your perception of what happened. How did that perception make you feel? Are you feeling heard? Are you feeling validated? Are you feeling like your ability to make sovereign decisions for yourself is being respected? Is this a case of we've been catering to someone else so much that we've kind of lost a grasp of who we are and what we need? Is it something along the lines of we have sacrificed our own identity in order to fully assimilate with another person, in order to be like fully absorbed into their life? And the thing is, we shouldn't be absorbed into anything outside of our own growth. Like, we have to hold ourselves accountable for the ways in which we have been denying our growth process. So card number 1, make peace with your past. This has to do with something that's already happened. It's not a crippling thing, a crippling fear of an unknown yet. This is a crippling reaction and refusal to release something that's already happened. Maybe it's a sense of betrayal. A lot of people don't understand Pisceans. A lot of people have a tendency, and if you're watching this and you're not Piscean and it's resonating, then it probably applies to you. But a lot of people, a lot of empaths especially, we have a tendency to be misunderstood because we keep so quiet for so long that people don't understand we're still thinking about something that happened how long ago, and we never spoke up. And so it's been festering. And now that you've reopened that, you've triggered that to rise to the surface, I'm now having to deal with my irritation with you right now, compounded by my irritation and sense of betrayal from before. So now it's like, oh, why are you making such a big deal out of something? Actually, it is a big deal. It's a big deal because I never addressed it before. This is something that's been bothering me for a very long time. And now you're seeing the effects of it. Oh, you've changed. Why are you being so distant? Why are you so quiet? Like, what's going on? Why are you shutting me out? Failing to realize on our part that they really truly probably have no idea what's happened. They probably really truly don't know what it is you're so upset about. You probably can read other people's minds, but they can't read yours. So how's that work? If they can't read your mind and know what you're thinking, and then you're not saying it, you're not saying what's wrong, you're not saying what needs to be worked on together, how do things get worked on? They don't. So we can't really blame other people. And it's not that we need to blame anyone. It's that we need to recognize if we're going to continue to choose the same reactions or responses, then we're going to end up being our own enemy. Card number 12, Hex, be still and allow the enemy to reveal themselves. So for some of us, there's a real potentiality that you are your biggest enemy, okay? There's a potentiality that you've been wearing a mask even with yourself. You've been hiding your own identity, your own needs, your own processes. And that's really something that it has to be expressed. It has to be released. Let me show you why. Card number 42, the word wants to be written. If you can't speak it, write it. And that's what I hear. If you can't speak it, then write it. But it has to be released at some point. And if you're not willing to release it, it's going to continue to fester. And then eventually it's going to become a huge issue. And another thing is that I'm getting the sense that this is already a huge issue. It's been a huge issue for you for a long time. And it's only now that you can't even pretend that it's okay anymore. You can't even just be like quiet about it and pretend like everything's fine, because suddenly it's not. Suddenly that's too much to ask of you. And of course, it's going to cause a lot of confusion for the individual. Okay. Card number 23, defend to the end the worthwhile. You're worth it. If you really are truly being attacked, being accused of all sorts of stuff because someone is trying to dominate you, someone's trying to force you to agree with what they believe and it doesn't resonate with you, then yeah, defend yourself to the very bitter end. And sometimes the most powerful type of defense is simply walking away. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is drop that perceived need to try and explain yourself, where you think like, oh, I need them to understand me because they're not. No, some people are not able to understand. Sometimes some people are brought into your life simply to give you the opportunity to choose yourself and walk away. No matter what happens, you have to choose yourself. You have to choose your growth. What if children are involved? Well, choosing yourself does not mean leaving your children. It means being a balanced, healthy example for them. Because really what happens when you have children, it doesn't matter what you say. What truly parents the children and guides them and helps to form them is what they see you behaving as. If all you do is complain, all you do is whine and like, oh, no, it's not enough. Oh, it's too much. No, I can't right now. Oh, this, that, blah, 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 blah. Then don't be mad that your children are whining all the time, where they can't even cooperate and work together with you. That's learned behavior. It is. It's learned behavior. My children are not perfect. Oftentimes they would rather, play their video games and not take out the trash and not do their chores. But hey, guess what? There's things that mommy doesn't want to do, but she has to do it because that's her chore. That's her responsibility. And I'm going to express myself to you in a very firm yet loving way. So you can express yourself to me in a very firm but loving way. You can express your emotions. I'm not going to shut you down. And because I don't shut you down, I'm not going to be okay with you shutting me down, shutting me out, not letting yourself hear me, hear my point of view. These are things that are learned. And so when you get into relationships, when you get into long-term relationships especially, Not only are you teaching the children, if you have children, if there are children involved, you're also teaching your partner what you will and will not have. Just you are. Why does my husband do so much for me? Aside from the fact that he loves me, quite possibly the biggest threat that I can utter is, I'll do it myself. I don't want to do it. I'll do it myself. It's no big deal to me. I'll just do it myself. Can you guys hear and see me? I don't know. Oh, hold on. Okay, so Samantha says, okay. So card number 21, beyond the mind, the heart beats. Whew. There is a part of you that's so much more than just logic. There's a part of you that requires to be fully present as you experience things in life. This part of you is beyond the mind. It's a part of you that sits within your heart. It's a part of you that really has this need to learn specific things in this life. And you're not going to learn those specific things if you're not fully present in as many moments as you can be for yourself in your life. Let's be honest. Many of us struggle. Do you guys hear that? That like electronic sound? Many of us struggle with being fully present. That's just a really, really difficult thing for most of us. Okay? A really, really difficult thing. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're being lazy and looking for excuses. For some, it could. For some, it could mean that. But for many of us, we're so caught up in trying to be present for everyone else. We're so caught up in like trying to be the perfect partner, the perfect parent, the perfect friend, that we just lose track of what we need for ourselves. Can you guys still hear me? Are you guys able to hear me? Okay. So I just want to organize the cards so I know what I've already read. So, ooh. It's a lot of darkness going on. So darkness, the moon, translucence, love the darkness. These are the things that are hidden. Okay. These are things that are hidden from you. These are things that are hidden from you because you've chosen to hide them. They're the thoughts, the needs, the feelings, these internal conversations between self and soul that are not taking place because you're refusing to allow them to. So if you're the one that's refusing to allow them to, you have to recognize the ways in which you're blocking this communication between self and soul and correct it. Okay. Because you really, really need to have that communication. Like you need to have communication between self and soul. If not, you're going to feel very, very lost in your life. You're going to feel very, very confused. You're going to feel as though you don't know who you are. Ooh. Okay. That's interesting. So card number 22, motion, air. This is really not the reading for this type of message. And then card number 3, east, beginnings. There's going to be beginnings in the east. This carries with it a few messages for Blu-rays. This is not a Blu-ray reading. This is a Pisces reading. So I'm just going to go ahead and So with all the motion, it can kick up some dust, okay? With all the motion within you, it can definitely kick up some dust and make it very hard to see. Now, the beginnings, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. That's the saying. Yeah, yeah, I think saying. So there's going to be a new day, a new dawn. It's going to come after a bunch of confusion and chaos for you. And that confusion and chaos can come simply from you and your thoughts, your refusal to be fully present and address the things that need to be addressed for you, within you. It can definitely be something along those lines. Card number 19, accountability. Responsibility is a gift of love to yourself and others. We are carrying far too many rocks of unprocessed emotions. The load is so heavy at this point. It is so heavy. What are you going to do with those rocks that you keep carrying them around? I mean, have you thought about that yet? Have you thought about what you plan to do with the emotions that you continuously carry around with you? If it has a purpose, if you recognize what that's heading towards, and there's a purpose for it within yourself and your journey, then keep carrying it. This is not about me telling you to stop carrying things. This is about me asking you to consider the answer to the question that I asked. What is the purpose of carrying those things around? Are you going to use them to build a wall? Are you going to use them to dam up the river of your life? Are you going to do that to try and accumulate more energy? Are you carrying those rocks around because these are all the heavy thoughts that you use to punish yourself? Because sometimes we like to punish ourselves for no reason other than because we can. Other than because we believe we don't deserve something, and so we need to punish ourselves. We need to have an external something that gives us an excuse to continue harming ourselves emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever it is. Sometimes we use this big rucksack of rocks as a never-ending, bottomless container of excuses as to why we need to punish ourselves. I'm going to tell you something, and I hope you can really hear what I'm trying to say. So long as you're looking for ways in which to punish yourself, your soul will continue to send you the circumstance and the people that will provide you the punishment. So long as you feel as though you don't deserve to be loved in a healthy way, you will be stuck in a situation where you don't have healthy love, where the person who claims to love you is extremely diseased in their emotions and logic, and you will continue to be their target. Whatever you look for is what you'll find. And I'm not talking about half-ass looking for. Because when you half-ass look for something, you really don't get anything and you just get frustrated. Like real frustrated. So what are you looking for? If you're looking for a reason to carry these rocks, why don't we shift that reason? Instead of using those rocks as a way to punish yourself later on, why don't we begin exercising with those rocks, allowing that resistance and that extra weight to strengthen us? And when we're strong enough, when that extra resistance, extra weight, that burden has caused us to recognize how strong we actually are, it no longer feels like a sack of rocks. It feels more like exercise weights. And I'm not going to exercise all the time. I'll pick up that sack when I want to work on certain parts of myself. But for the most part, I'm not going to carry that around anymore. The use of that, I've outgrown it. Years ago, before I was willing to invest in myself, and it's not a huge investment, which was the weird thing. So I refused to join a gym because I was traveling so much with my family. We were traveling nonstop. But I knew my body needed the extra resistance. I needed to get healthy. I needed to stabilize all my joints. I needed to be healthy. And so I wasn't willing yet to officially invest that $50 a month in myself. So what did I do? I went ahead and I stored all my home gym equipment, my light weights, like 10, 15-pound weights. I stuck it in a rucksack. I stuck all my other equipment in a rucksack, and I put a liter of water in a rucksack, all of that together in a pretty big rucksack. And I would wear that while I exercise. And why was I doing that? I thought it was because I needed the extra weight because I was trying to be healthy, and I was trying this and I was trying that. And at the time, I was in Texas in the middle of summer where the temperature is fucking ridiculous. 65% at 111. At the time, that probably was not the best idea. It probably wasn't the healthiest thing for me to do. But I did it. And I told myself it felt good. Because you know what? I was still in a cycle of punishing myself. Didn't even realize it. Didn't even realize it. That rucksack weighed about 80 pounds. And I would carry it as I do whatever I'm doing outside of the RV. I would wear it. And then I recognized, what am I doing? It's fucking cutting into my shoulders. It weighs like more than half my weight. It's like 2/3 of my weight, maybe even more than 2/3 of my weight. And it's not helping me. It's actually making it much more likely that I will injure myself, which I did. I ended up injuring myself. I popped the head of my femur out of my hip joint. I popped it out. And I had a partially dislocated hip for quite a few months, maybe about 2 months before I even realized what was really going on. And it hurt a lot. It hurt a lot. It wasn't like it was painless. It hurt a fucking lot. And I just kept right on, like, take it, just take, no. Now it's like, no, you weren't supposed to just take it. You were punishing yourself. You were being so ridiculously fucking mean to yourself for no reason. It wasn't for health. It was an outward expression of diseased emotions and logic. And when I realized that, I stopped doing it. And then my hip popped back into place in the middle of the night. And it wasn't long after that that I said, you know what? This is stupid. If I really want to get healthy, if I really want to strengthen my body, I need to invest in myself. I need to find a gym and just join a fucking gym. And I did. And I didn't have to hurt myself in that way anymore. And what I thought was a healthy logic, what I thought was a healthy decision for myself to empower myself, in reality, it wasn't that. It eventually transformed into that, where now I have the proper equipment. I have access to things that can actually help me help myself without punishing myself. My body cannot do whatever the fuck that thing is. What's it called? Where they carry rucksacks and stuff. I can't do that. My joints are unstable. I can't do that. And so now I recognize, looking back, like, holy shit, I was just punishing myself for no fucking reason, outside of the fact that I could. Under the guise of getting healthy under the guise of physical fitness. It was not physical fitness. It was a way to physically punish myself. For what, though? What do you punish yourself for? For me, I recognize I was punishing myself for being publicly visible, for allowing myself to receive compensation for my time when I do sessions. I was still punishing myself. Like publicly, when you see me, it seems like, oh, I've healed those parts of me that refuse to allow abundance to come in. But in reality, when you go past the surface, I actually hadn't healed it. I hadn't. I was trying to convince myself that I had, but I hadn't. So, what parts of you are screaming for your attention that you keep telling yourself you've already healed, but in reality, you haven't? What parts are you? What parts of you are you still punishing yourself for? Because someone else didn't agree with you, because someone else didn't validate you, because someone else didn't give you permission to love on those parts of you, to even acknowledge those parts of you. Um, what parts of you need you the most right now? What are you lying to yourself about? Because when you lie to yourself inside, whether you recognize it or not, it affects everything outside of you. It just does. It begins to affect all of your relationship, all of your connections, friendships, romances, all of that. It affects all of it. So, card number 21, the key to intimacy. Intimate love is a core need to be met in relation to ourselves and those closest to us. The journey to intimacy often includes learning what love is not. That is powerful. Oftentimes, we have to go through the things that we go through in life to learn first the opposite of whatever it is that we're trying to achieve, what we're so desperate to have for ourselves. We end up learning all the polar opposites first, especially if we're very sensitive empaths. When that happens to a very sensitive empath, we tend to really, really internalize the lesson. And so when the good parts, when the not so painful learning comes along, it's already very, very deep within us. We're going to learn this on a whole nother level. So, card number 29, radical self acceptance. You are perceived the way you perceive yourself. That is so fucking powerful. Wow. Oh, wow. The imagery. Are you only half a being? It appears to be that she's had a mastectomy. She has a breast missing. Do you feel like you're only half a woman? Do you feel like you're only half useful? That a part of you is missing and you're now flawed and you're now broken, you're deformed in some way? I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't think you are. If you feel like a part of you has been removed from your chest, which I think a lot of Pisceans are becoming painfully aware of some of the nuances of that twin flame, twin ray type connection. Or maybe you mislabeled someone as that for you. And when that crashed and burned, you felt like a part of you was cut off, like surgically removed. And if that's how you truly feel, if that's what it feels like to you, just like when you have a breast surgically removed, you're going to need to go through a recovery period. You're not just going to bounce back. And most importantly, if you're resonating with this real deeply, if you feel like the love that you had for someone that you identified as your twin flame or twin ray, that it was cut off from you when they walked away, I ask you to kindly remember, we don't usually remove healthy breasts. We remove that which is toxic, that which is diseased. So maybe we have to begin recognizing this sense of it being cut out of you. I'm wondering if your soul surgically removed a diseased portion of your life. And I mean, that doesn't make it easier. You know, I don't know any woman who has had a mastectomy be like, I'm so happy, like part of me is missing. I mean, eventually you get there. Eventually, you heal to the point where, like, I'm happy that that part is done. I can now focus on my recovery, my health. Um, it's just unheard of to me personally, like in real life connections, because I know quite a few people who had their breast removed because of cancer. And it was a devastating process for pretty much all of them. Some hit it more than others. Some tried to put up a more powerful type of um, mask where, like, I got this. And, like, no, I do. I believe you got this. But I also believe that you're hiding a lot of what you're feeling about what's going on. And that's okay. You don't have to share everything just because people want to know. You don't have to. Pisces, this goes back to an exchange I had over the weekend, just a few days ago. This exchange with someone who was upset because their Pisces does not want to hear them. You're not obligated to hear anyone. You're not. Whether they're right, whether they're not right, whether their accusations are accurate, whether it's a lie, whether they're just abusive or their intent is pure and they love you, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. That's part of the lesson of being a Piscean. You can choose which waters you swim into. You're not stuck in a bowl. It's up to you how you want to live your life, and whatever you choose, I'm not going to say whatever you choose is right and everyone else is wrong. I am going to say that whatever you choose, you have to deal with the outcome of that. Whatever result comes from that decision, you're going to have to deal with it. So if you're going to be the only one that's having to deal with it, I feel like you should make the choice yourself, because if you're going to do the wrong thing, it should be on your own terms. It really, really should. It shouldn't be about trying to please someone else, trying to hear their needs over the soft whispers of your own. That's not how it works. And when people can't give you permission to be you and live your life and grow in accordance with your timeline, the details that your soul has selected, let's focus on the fact that this person thinks you need their permission. I don't know if it's the Capricorn in me, but the moment someone acts like I need their permission to live my life is the moment they're no longer a part of my life. If you're going to use these tactics where you're going to try and convince me that I'm a bad person for not being the person you decided I should be, that's the day you will no longer have access to me. That is the day I will shut you out of my heart, and I will lock that fucking bitch up, and I will fucking weld it shut. It's not enough to just lock it. I will weld that shit shut. Because no, I finally gotten to the point in my journey where I don't need that kind of toxicity in my life. I can now say that I'm able to identify that type of behavior and able to recognize I don't need that kind of shit. I've learned that lesson already. It's time for me to move on. They can continue doing that shit on their own. On their own. And it's not me wishing you bad. No. It's me recognizing my own needs, being willing to hear the whispers of my heart over the screamed demands of someone outside of me. So you have to begin choosing for yourself. How are you going to actually live? Are you going to live in fear of what someone might think? What your partner's going to say? Well, I mean, what are you actually doing? Why is your partner going to say something? What is it about? And if y'all think that this is about, if y'all think this is about like getting your way, it's not. It's not just for Pisceans. This is just a really intense lesson that many, many people go through. A lot of the things that my husband and I used to struggle through was that he didn't either he wouldn't do something because he thought I'd be upset or disappointed, or he would feel like he would need to hide something because he didn't want. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to be pissed at you, I'm going to be pissed at you regardless. I mean, we've been together for how long? You think I'm just going to walk out now? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm committed to this. And if I'm going to be pissed at you, wouldn't you rather I'm pissed at you because you made a decision for yourself as a grown ass fucking man, and let me deal with my emotions? Because if I have control issues, you choosing for yourself and me having whatever reaction I have to it is actually gifting me an opportunity to learn that it is not my place to control you, a grown fucking adult. So now we have to decide, why are we allowing other people to control us? Does it give us something to fight against outside of ourselves? Because we're so tired of fighting ourselves. Now we have to find someone else outside of us to fight. Yes, his action figures. So I'm gonna go to Target. I'm gonna be back real quick. For what? For what? What do you need at Target? My toys. Fine. Get your fucking toys. Get your toys. Yeah, he goes anyways. He don't care. It's fine. He shouldn't have to tippy toe. And he knows this. And I can express my feelings, be like, that fucking annoys me. And I got to deal with it myself because he has a right to choose for himself. So, card number 22, letting go. You have to let go. If you don't want someone to control you, you can't control them. Okay, that's kind of just how sovereignty works. You can't live as a sovereign if you can't respect other people's sovereignty. This is about creating balance within your life, internal, reflected externally. See the beauty in you. See the beauty in all your parts, not just the soft petals, but also the thorns. Those serve a purpose. When people mishandle you, Pisceans, it's okay for them to catch the thorns. You're not going out of your way to find people to beat with your branches. I mean, unless that's what you're doing, in which case, stop that shit. Don't be that level of toxic. But when people are mishandling you and now they've hurt themselves, you didn't hurt them. They hurt themselves because they were trying to mishandle the rose and they got the thorn. I'm sorry. Should I be sorry that you tried to grab me by my stem and yank me out of my place? I think that you fucking deserve those thorns. You picked the causation, you got the effect. The only one to blame is yourself. When someone engages you in that way, why do you have to be sorry for being a human being? And I'm not saying that it's okay for you to be intentionally malicious. I'm talking about these knee-jerk reactions, or maybe saying or doing something that you didn't realize would hurt them in that way. I'm talking about things that are not intentionally malicious. Why do you have to cater to someone else? If you can't cater to yourself first, you really don't need to hold yourself accountable for catering to someone else. That's just plain and simple. And people are not going to like that I'm saying that and empowering you. You have to hold yourself accountable first. First and foremost, are you doing things that you know is hurtful to other people, especially to the people that you love? Because if it is, you need to take a good hard look at why you're doing this. Are you self-sabotaging? Are you trying to punish yourself by punishing the people who love you and driving them away? Is that something you're doing? Have you chosen to be in a relationship or friendship with someone who is a reflection of abusive parents that you had? Like maybe your parents were abusive in that way as a child. And so now you've picked a reflection of your mother or your father. Which one is it? I mean, we have to find out the root of what we're struggling through. Why are we struggling? Why have we chosen this for ourselves? Why do we continue these cycles within ourselves and outside of ourselves with other people? We are not victims of our circumstance. We are active co-creators in everything we experience in life. Some cultures allow men to be very toxic to women too. I was born into a patriarchal culture. That means the woman is to be submissive. The man is allowed to be dominant and abusive. And I know quite a few Filipino women who are fucking abusive as hell, who are dominant as fuck. The man gets no fucking say. Yeah, no. Even being raised in that type of culture where misogyny is okay, where infidelity is like, oh, it's no big deal, you know, it's a man's thing. That's not the kind of man I want. So I chose differently for myself. We can't allow the cultures that are used to program us to continue their programming even into our adulthood. Exactly. The world is invested in psychopathy, narcissistic, bad behavior, because that's what we look for. There's toxic masculinity just as there's toxic femininity. Toxic feminism is just as abusive and ugly as that toxic patriarchal society we currently exist within. I saw this video. It fucking hurt my heart. As a mother of nothing but young men and a sister to nothing but men, I'm surrounded by males my entire life. I can't jump on that same bandwagon. Hold on. Where is it? I think I downloaded it because it was just so fucking potent to me. Hold up. I gotta let you guys hear this. I fell in love with her when nope. Don't start talking, boo. Don't start talking. Hold on, where is it? Oh, here.
Okay, be honest, guys. Do you think that men should be allowed?
Yes. Yes, men are allowed. Allowed to what? I don't even know what you're trying to achieve with this. Allowed to exist. Allowed to be emotionally traumatized by what's going on, just like everyone else. Yeah, men are allowed. I'm a mother of a beautiful boy who I'm trying to raise to be a gentleman in a world full of toxic feminism, just like what you flooded this app with. I'm fed up of seeing it on my timeline. And I'm scared to death for my son growing up around women like you. Next time you want to put a video out like this, just take this, put this in your head. Imagine being a mum with a son, having to hear that. I shouldn't be allowed, Mum.
Okay, be honest, guys.
Not okay. Not okay. So we have to allow ourselves to let our honesty, our truth flare up. Let that flame become huge. Don't allow yourself to be blown out by other people's words. Because what are words? Nothing but a controlled exhale. A combination of an exhaled breath paired with positioning of your larynx, your vocal cords, your mouth and your tongue. No matter what, at the end of the day, the words are nothing but exhalations, toxic breath, the refused parts of that oxygen exchange. That's what toxic words are. the parts of the person that they are ridding themselves of. Like, I'm going to say this, this, and this to you because these are reflections of parts of me that are so ugly and so toxic that I don't want it inside my field anymore. So I had to go on that girl's profile and be like, what the fuck is she talking about? Should men be allowed? Okay, so because there are those who are male and they've somehow made you feel as though you're not allowed to do this, this, and this, you're now going to turn around and be the very same monster that you are trying to heal and become equal with. Well, you're already equal with that fucking monster. When you take on the persona of the monster, you become the monster. That very fine, very delicate line between you and what you're trying to fight, it gets blurred real easily. So how do I fight toxicity in my life? How do I fight that toxic patriarchy? I'm not listening to you. If it's within my heart to do it, I'm going to fucking do it. And if you're going to tell me that I can't, bitch, you're going to watch me do it. You're going to watch me do it. And I'm going to excel at it. Just to show you, I don't believe in your limitations. I don't believe in anything you say. And you can't force me. Whether you beat me, hold me down, I really don't give a shit. You can't change what's in here because I control all of that. Only I do, no one else. So as Pisceans, we have to begin really accepting this. Only you control what's in here. Whatever happens to your body because of someone else, sometimes you can control it, sometimes you can't, whatever. In here, you will never get in there. You will never, ever, ever get in there. Not unless I allow you. And that's just the bottom line of it. Oh, but Emmie, but. Okay, well, here, an example. Living in a patriarchal culture, being raised in a patriarchal culture, a family who is traditional and part of that culture. I was told that as a woman, I'm not allowed to drive stick shift. I can't do a manual type of transmission. So you know what I did? I went to my brother and lied to him and told him I knew how to drive stick because his car was a stick shift. And I drove stick. I drove from Fremont, California, all the way to deep-ass Sacramento, in traffic, in the rain, with that stick shift. And bitches, I didn't stall once. Yeah, thank you. I didn't stall one time. I drove for 2.5 hours one way, 2.5 hours going back home in traffic. And if you've never been in San Francisco Bay Area traffic, y'all don't even know the amount of clutch work that has to happen with that. I didn't stall once. The only time I stalled was the last 2 miles before I got back to the house and I went to go get gas. My father to creep in my head. And that's when I failed. That's when I stalled. That's when I gave someone else's words more power over myself and my truth. So you can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing that's not in alignment with my truth. And whether you're right or wrong, unless I'm willing to listen to that, it's not going to be integrated into my truth. I do not give you that kind of power, that kind of authority, that kind of control. No fucking way will I submit to any of that. And I don't give a shit what you think. Because if what you think involves my submission to your will, you're not at my level and I don't need to worry about that. My level is going up, 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 out, out, out. You want me to shrink back in, drop back down. I am not participating in that. So meet me where I am, at a place of growth and open-mindedness, a place where I'm trying to explore myself, trying to find the parts of me that are still wounded and need my attention so I can begin the healing process. And this is not about me being better than you. This is about me being in a different place than you are. This is about me recognizing that I don't have to be sorry or ashamed that I've gotten out of the pool of toxicity. If you want to talk to me, get out of the pool too. Let's go sit on the bench over there. I'm not getting in that pool with you. I'm not going anywhere near that pool. I'm not going to allow you to drag me into that pool of toxicity. If I've already done what I need to do to get myself out of that pool, I don't need to be sorry that you are still choosing to be there. And you will come across people, Pisceans, that will give you this sense of like, oh, but you're abandoning me. You think you're better. No, I think I'm better than the part of me that felt like it was okay to sit in that toxicity with you. I'm better than that part of me, that version of me. That version of me is gone. This is a new one. I'll meet you halfway between the benches and that pool, but I'm not fucking going to the pool. There's no point. I've outgrown that. And it's not that you've outgrown the person. I've outgrown the toxic cycles. And if that's all they want to do is continue the toxic cycles, Pisces, save your exhale. Save your words. Save your thoughts. Trying to explain to someone with the objective, the goal of getting them to understand, that's a thinly veiled form of toxicity. That's a thinly veiled form of attempts to control, to dominate, to force agreement. Isn't that what they're doing? And we talked about that toxic femininity video that I showed you guys. And isn't that what she's doing? The first person? Where should men be allowed? Why? Because for a period of time, women weren't allowed? That doesn't empower anyone. Men who weren't even present and are also a product of the conditioning, programming that you suffered through, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the most powerful thing we can do as the wounded healers is to help other people identify their wounds, because it's that very causation that leads to the behavioral, emotional, social, and intellectual effects that we still struggle through years after that abuse is done. But is it really done if you're still struggling through it? No, it's not. I found abuse, some of the worst things about abuse, especially emotional and mental abuse, because when you're physically abused, eventually your body heals, the bruises fade, the bones, they mend. But the emotional and psychological portion of abuse, that keeps giving, usually for the rest of your life if you don't address it. And you'll continue to seek out the same type of connections with new people because that lesson wasn't complete. It's like failing 5th grade and having to take 5th grade over and over and over every single year, every single relationship. You're stuck in 5th grade. What's the best way to get out of 5th grade? Pass the class. Learn the lessons, do the homework, pass the class. That's all you got to do. Cutting class, that's not going to make you pass the class. It's not. Truancy. Spiritual truancy doesn't help you pass the class. Avoidance of the very lessons that you need to learn, avoidance of the connections that are necessary for you to learn those lessons, 88% at 144. That's spiritual truancy. And that's why you're stuck in the cycles you're in. So things are how they are. What will you do to change it? Do you want to change it? Or is it too scary of a thing right now for things to be changed? And if that's the case, please be honest with yourself. Because if that's the case, love yourself enough to give yourself time. Time to find the courage. That courage exists within you. And just because you're not allowing yourself to tap into that courage, to acknowledge the courage is there, it doesn't mean it isn't. So give yourself time. You have the rest of the world willing to judge you and condemn you for not being strong enough, brave enough, present enough, enough this, enough that, you don't need to join that group. You don't need to join that group. If there's only one person in this world that you can trust to never hurt your feelings, to never abandon you in that way, make sure that person is you. Just make sure that person is you. If you can do that and be that for other people, for so many people, why can't you do that for yourself? Why can't you just have this like moment where you can just hold yourself and be like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. We've been through so much already. This is just one little thing that we're also going to get through. And all of this is making us stronger anyways. All of this resistance, all of this extra weight, all of this struggle, it's just helping us remember how strong we actually are. And if we're going to get mad, if we're going to get furious about all of this because it's unfair, then maybe we can let that anger lead to our rebellion, that rebelliousness against having to continue to repeat these lessons. And there's no point in just being rebellious. You have to utilize that rebellion for something specific. Rebel against your refusal to grow. That's the most powerful thing you can rebel against. Because when you rebel against that, you're rebelling against a program that keeps you trapped and all of these social, socioeconomic, emotional, psychological cycles. Adapt, overcome, improvise. Are you military? One of my friends is military. He would always say that. Adapt, overcome, improvise. We're not heading towards a foo bar. I was like, what the fuck's a foo bar? Fucked up beyond any repair. Foo bar. Fucking crack me up. Girl, are you going to that foo bar? No foo bar. I don't even know if that's right. I don't know if he's fucking making that shit up, but I looked it up. Apparently it's military stuff. So you guys, thank you for sharing this space with me. I hope the space that we share consistently empowers you to dive deeper into yourself and your truth. Fuck all this shit about other people. Really just work on yourself. Allow yourself to experience a level of empowerment that exceeds whatever growth, whatever type of release and support you feel sharing space with me. There's nothing more powerful than the type of support you can give yourself, the kind of love, acceptance you can give yourself. If you think sharing space with me empowers you, that's just a small, dusty mirror of a reflection of how you can empower yourself. And no, this is not me not giving myself enough credit. This is me speaking the truth. There's nothing that I could do for you that can't be done in a much more better, more powerful, more efficient manner by you for yourself. We just never give ourselves permission to recognize this. And maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to give yourself full permission to be the fucking badass that you are. And it's not like a baddie, like you have to play this role. It's badass to be free within your heart and within your mind and to allow your truth to be expressed as the highest level of authenticity. Not manufactured authenticity, not playing a role, not trying to create this image of like, ooh, I'm a spiritual person. It's like, no, just be you. Be you with no apologies. Be you and be unafraid to make mistakes, to shove your foot in your mouth here and there. And don't be afraid to apologize if you do. Don't be afraid to be like, oh, you know what? I was wrong. Oh, you know what? I don't know. I think quite possibly some of the most powerful parts of me is the fact that I'm not afraid to say I don't know. Because then I'm free to learn. I'm free to allow myself to receive the gift of further expansion, further elevation in my consciousness and understanding of myself and my journey by simply listening to you. There's so many people, oh, I already know. Oh, I already did this. Oh, I already know. Oh, no, I already. Okay, well, then what the fuck are you talking to me for then? You already know. So this is not a conversation, because I wanted, conversation with communication between the two of us, where you say something, I say something, you listen, I listen. It's a beautiful exchange. And if that's not what's going to happen, then what exactly were we doing? We don't know? Okay. Well, I'll catch you another time then, because my time here is limited. And I'm now at a point where I've learned enough to know how very little we as human beings with human consciousness are able to understand and learn. And so I want to maximize my learning potentiality in this life. I don't have time for that anymore. Grow me. Expand my consciousness. Not through agreement, and not always through arguing or conflict, but by the sharing of your thoughts and your perceptions, by allowing me to witness you in your journey, allowing me to be bathed in your authenticity. That's what I need. That's what I'm looking for. And if it's going to just be some superficial thing that people are offering you, we don't always have to go super duper deep. Excuse me. But sometimes we have to remind ourselves we need more depth than this. And so find that depth somewhere else. Okay. So you guys, please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. If you're looking for readings for any of the other signs, catch me on my TikTok. It's the same handle as this channel, Emmie Evolving. Yesterday, I did a reading for Blu-rays. There were quite a few different things that Michael was trying to get me to do in the live stream. As promised, I'm going to go live later this evening, early evening probably, and I'm going to have those Blu-ray. I will have it available for those who resonate with it. And I'll also have readings. I know people, they kind of want readings, and that's okay. I'm here to read. So I will see you guys again very, very soon. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll see you. Bye.